Thanks for having me here. I really appreciate it. I think Rob was just saying nice things about me because I'm on his PhD committee. And it's my signature if he ever wants to graduate. So thank you. I appreciate that. So tonight I want to share with you a little bit about what we do here in my lab to help assess runners, to help to reduce risks of injuries and also to achieve top performance. To do that, I'm going to go through some of the current research out there on some of the topics related to running, and then we'll also show a demonstration of Jake running here on the treadmill. We'll show some of his biomechanical models and some of the results that we get when we do a running analysis like this, and how we actually take that information and put it into practice. We have about 30 of these little markers attached all over his body. They're reflective tape wrapped around little beads, and we put those in different landmarks, specifically chosen landmarks so that we can build a model of Jake on our computer. And once we get them all set up, we'll show you we're going to show you what Jake looks like on our computer. So if you want to hop on the treadmill and get started, I'm going to have to go around to the computer, get it turned on. But once we get it all set up, you should see it here on the screen.
So typically the rate we'll have him run at is a rate that he's doing most of his training at. If you have a deficiency in your biomechanics, we don't want him to come into the lab and feel like he has to perform. We know that when people come into the lab, they feel like they're being observed, they want to run differently. And we try to fight that. We had Jake come in last Thursday, and Jake was very compliant. And so we said, Jake, we need you to run at what you're doing most of your mileage at, so we get a snapshot. If you have anything wrong, we'll pick it up. We don't want you to change your gait. We don't want you to feel like you're being tested. And so Jake settled in at a pretty good pace, being a faster runner. You know, he has about a 9:15 is his average for a 50-miler. His PR in the marathon is about like 3:05-ish. So Jake's very accomplished. It would put him pretty high up in the age grade status. So Jake settled in for our demonstration at a pace of about, 8:03 pace. So that's what you're going to be seeing on the screen. And Dr. Conrad's pulling some of that up right now, and you'll get some more info from him.
And so when we looked at Jake's mechanics, overall, he fit right in the middle of the range of where most of our healthy runners fit. There were a couple areas where there were some small deviations, mainly in the pelvis and the hip. And what we saw was that his pelvis was tilted back just a little bit, about 5 or 10 degrees. Maybe not something you would have picked out just with the naked eye, but enough that we could see a difference in our data. And then also his hip range of motion was shifted into more extension, and that goes with your pelvis. If you rotate your pelvis back, that's going to mean you have to extend your hip more to get the same range of motion. So that's not uncommon.
And now if I want to give him some drills maybe to get the feel of it, the other thing I could do is just say, Jake, face me. I'm going to put my hand right into your chest, and I want you just to lean into me. And I just want you to feel that lean. Now go ahead and drive your knee up, like you're going to drive up. Okay? So he could just work on this. So this is a way that he could work on this like with a partner drill. Am I hurting you? Okay.
Gun show.
And the other thing I could do if I wanted to say, okay, let's think about how we can do a warm-up drill, is I can get him up against a wall. So let's find a wall here. Or I'll tell you what, why don't you come here and use the treadmill as a wall. I'd probably put his hands higher, but why don't you get up here, okay? So I'm going to get him forward leaning at his ankles. And now what I'm going to say, all right, Jake, just drive your knee up to your hip. Or knee up towards your hip. Just drive, quick, 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 quick. So he's getting a little dynamic warm-up in his ankle. He's getting some hip warm-ups. And he's in that forward lean. Now go side to side, side to side. So we're loosening up our hips. We're changing the angle on the treadmill. Now go ahead and just swing wide for me. So he's stretching his hips out. Anyone who can see his feet, keep your heel flat. Keep your heel flat. He's getting a dynamic calf stretch. And he's getting just cueing into that nice forward lean. So those are some real easy things that I would do with him. Nice and straight overhead. There we go. And just keep going. And I would make him do this literally for like 2 to 3 minutes. It doesn't look that hard right now, but if you make him lay here and do this for 2 to 3 minutes, his stomach's going to be shaking all over. Very lightly you can balance on here, either fingertips or just your elbows. And I want you to come up and do that same leg extension for me.
That was both legs together.
So here's his kind of feedback that gives him some feedback. Try to extend out. Come just straight out. Those of you close, do you see his abs working a whole lot harder? Do you see him? It's a lot. Does the effort feel a little bit harder to do? So start tucked all the way tucked in and down on your elbows. Okay. Yep. And now push the roller out. And now pull your knees up into your chest. Really think about using your lower abdominals to pull your knees up. He's getting a little foam rolling on the anterior tibialis. He's got some shin splints, and he's working his abs at the same time.